Alright, here we are. Egg finals. Don't ask me how. I don't know. Up against Emil and his... Oh, fuck. I should know the team name for finals. I'm going to say Montreal Ice Cubes because I'm pretty sure his badge has an ice cube in it. And he's French-Canadian. So just going with the one place I've heard of. Could be wrong, but I don't know. We'll pretend that's right. Yeah, I don't know how this happened. I don't know how me and Emil are the final. Like, I feel like, don't get me wrong, Emil's a really good player and he had a good team. But I feel like we're both a bit, like, memers. Do you know what I mean? I feel like it's the class clowns having a punch-up at school break. It's like, how did that happen? Those two guys are fighting. Why are they fighting? You know what I mean? It feels really random. We did play during the regular season. We did win. But I hate that. He's changed his team since then as well. But I always think for rematches, you're almost better being on the losing team because then you know what to change going into the rematch. The game is going to be post-com. The battle is going to be post-com. But I just want to do this little live com intro. Hopefully it doesn't jinx anything. So just to show you, we have, because we all know I'm not going to explain anything in the game in the post-com. I'm going to talk to you about, I don't know, dogs or something. So we have Zarude, Choice Scarf, a jetpack, again, giraffe rig, very similar, in fact, identical to last week. We have, this is also a good chance for me to check to make sure that everything's right. Grafai coming for only his second game of the season. He had a good matchup here, so we've brought him again. We have Mudsdale, which last time, sorry, Grafai, I mean, why has that not been named Impidimp? That should be called Impidimp. Oh, it is called Impidimp, good, I'm looking in the wrong place. Impidimp. Mudsdale, this thing was a bit of a problem last game. It got put to sleep like Gravity into Hypnosis Darkrai, and that really put us on the back foot, but it's okay. Colberberry, Basculin, which I noticed was actually a relaxed nature. I think it was supposed to be up in special attack. I think I might have fucked that up. I don't really know. It's only finals, so what does it matter? The standard set that I've been running since I put it on the team. And then we have Specs Cabalion at the end. This thing really ripped him a new one last time, and hopefully it can again. So, yeah, simple, straightforward build. That's the team. Hopefully it goes well. I think he's just messaged me to say that he's ready, so over to postcom. Also, side note, I really, really have to pee. So if you see me fidgeting like this in the video, it's not just my unmedicated ADHD. It is also the fact that I really, really have to pee. But Katie was in the bath when I went upstairs to pee. And despite having been together for like nearly 8 years, I think, I still don't like peeing in front of her. I've got a shy bladder, so I couldn't do that. So I really, really have to pee. Yeah, at some point I might have to pee like in a bottle or in a glass during the video. I might censor that, or I might just let you see me pee, because, you know, can't do it in front of Katie, but you guys can watch. I don't know. I'm nervous. Alright, so here we are. Egg finals. I think I recorded an intro for this. I can't really remember. I'm post-coming, as you can see. There's nothing on the layout for one final week. And then if you watch tomorrow's PPL game, I'm experimenting with something new to try and make that look a little bit better. But here we are. We're in We're in BBR finals, Egg finals versus Emil. I don't really know how he got here. I don't know if I ever shared the story of this team. Obviously, you've seen the nicknames, you've seen the memes, right? What actually happened was I'd played a little bit of OU to try and get me back into swing of Pokemon before coming back for Egg. Just like an afternoon's worth. And I had a team that I'd put like Iron Crown, Iron Boulder, Raging Bolt. Most of the things you've seen me draft, right? I'd put a bunch of them on a team. And it did alright. It had like Hisuia's Samurai, it had like a bunch of other things. I think, not Armor Rouge, what's the other one? The Slashy Boy. It had that on anyway, all these things. I knew it did pretty well. So I was like, I'll just try and like draft that team roughly. So I started off the draft with like Great Tusk, Iron Boulder, and Raging Bolt, I think were my first 3 picks. And then like I'd been putting gifs in the chat. So when I picked Great Tusk, I put a Donphan gif. When I picked Iron Boulder, I put a Terrakion gift. When I picked Raging Bolt, I put a Girafarig gif, right? And it was just funny to me. And then I noticed that like it was causing some confusion because people were like, what did he draft? Because some people were just looking at the gif and not reading the name. And that like amused me even more. So I was like, I'm just going to keep doing this. I'm going to do whatever. And then about halfway through the draft, I realized I was probably really pissing people off and only I found it funny that I was doing this. But that's the whole reason that I ended up drafting this like mono Gen 9. And I know, before you tell me Basculegion was in Gen 8, I don't care because it wasn't in draft in Gen 8, so it doesn't count to me. It counts as Gen 9 to me. So yeah, like it was just a meme because I thought like it was annoying people that like they didn't know whether I was being like what I'd actually drafted. So I was like, this is funny. I'm just gonna keep doing it. And then I thought it was actually really annoying, so I stopped. But that's why we ended up with this team. Like it was not that this meshed really well with that or that this did really well with that. It was just literally. In fact, the team didn't even have Iron Crown on it or anything like that. It just had Great Tusk, Raging Bolt, and Iron Boulder, and then it was like. Yeah, Hisuian Samurott, Seraledge, and Heatran, I think. And so from those first three, I was like, fuck it, let me just do this whatever. So that's how we ended up with this stupid team that somehow got us to finals. I don't know how this happened. I need to stop banging the desk as well, because I noticed in post-cons I've been smacking the desk. And then it makes loud noises for you. So we ended up with finals with this team. And Amel also has a bizarre team. So yeah, it's a good final. Two memers memeing it up. Here I'm like trying to decide if he's going to taunt me, I think, or Will-O-Wisp again. You saw he Will-O-Wisp into my thing, and he does fucking taunt. You see me give him the little, oh dear. This thing has been taunted so consistently this season. Like, I don't know why I haven't picked up on it yet, but well, I have. It's just like, in my brain, I'm like, well, if he taunts and I don't get Stealth Rock, it's just like pressing skip a turn. It doesn't really matter. But it kind of does, because if I had Earthquake there, we would have taken a huge advantage, because we would have just taken his Darkrai from him. I think this does, like, yeah, probably would have killed. I think double that damage probably would have killed. This was a little bit scary. But then it was just speed, and I was like, that's fine. So that was kind of me just being too passive, me being like, I'm not going to predict the taunt. I should have just predicted and gone for it, but that's okay. So yeah, that's how this season came to be. And I was trying to decide when I came into this video, do I try and really seriously analyze the game? It's a finals game, right? I feel like I should be here like, this 21 pointer is only really worth 19 points because it doesn't get access to Sticky Web or some Pokemon analysis. But like, I was like, maybe I'll just keep doing what I've been doing in playoffs, which is just talking to you about random shit. And then my decision was made because this game was done about a week ago and I can't remember anything in the game. So rather than giving you serious analysis play by play of what was happening and offering you something of value, content you actually want to see, thought I'd just ramble on a bit, really. I thought I'd just talk to you about life, if that's all right. So I know it's a final, I apologise, but hey, carry on the way we've been going. So anyway, recently, what I've been thinking about, what's been on my mind, we were having a chat the other day in one of the Discord servers, and we were talking about how you like process RNG in Pokemon. So it is Pokemon related. There is Pokemon here. Look at that expert play, by the way, on the close combat. I'm so good at this game. This was a fuck up because, as you heard in the intro, this thing was supposed to be modest and it wasn't, and I just didn't bother to change it because I thought it'd probably be fine. And you'll see here, it wasn't quite fine because that doesn't quite now 2-hit KO, whereas I think modest would have done. So slight mistake from me, but it's okay. Doesn't really matter. So anyway, we're talking about how you process RNG, and we're talking about particularly, like, say, endgame scenarios where, you win unless you get crit, or it comes down to a roll that's, like, say, like, I don't know, in your favor. Let's just say it's, like, 80% in your favor, right? And then your opponent gets the 20% or whatever. We're talking about it, and I was saying, like, for me, my perspective on those kind of moments is just, like, well, you played well enough that 80% of the time you would have won that game. So take that performance, be happy that you played that well, and just kind of move on. Like, I feel like the result is less important than the performance. And then someone else, I won't name names because, privacy, I want to respect that. But if people want to say, they can say. But someone else sort of said, yeah, but if you spend all week prepping, you've invested hours into this game and prepping for this game, and then you lose it on a 20% chance, it is, like, infuriating because you feel like you've wasted all your time. And I was like, that's kind of valid. I kind of get that. And I think for me, like, nowadays I don't spend much time prepping. I build my team while I poop. And then I do 1 or 2 mocks with Eric at most. And then I'm just like, all right, that'll do. Like, we'll see how it goes. And so, like, the result doesn't, I guess I don't have that same hang up of being like, well, I invested loads of time in this. But I was thinking, like, why? I was thinking about, like, kind of being competitive and stuff, because I am a competitive person. I'm not someone who's just like, I don't care if I win or lose. Like, I do care. But like I say, I think I focus on, like, well, what can I control? Rather than getting hung up on, like, say I play football and we lose because of a bad refereeing decision. rather than getting hung up on that and being angry about that like a lot of my teammates would be, I'd be like, okay, but if we hadn't have had that bad refereeing decision, we might have drawn. And also, like, what could we have done better to avoid that? And I'm a big believer of that with Pokemon. Like, sometimes you get so hacked out, the game's just not even playable, and you just lose to RNG. And again, you're just like, well, okay, whatever, you move on. But the games where it comes down to an 80% chance, I think, well, I played well, but was there something I could have done to not let it go to that point, right? Could I have improved my performance to where I would have won 100% of the time, right? You mitigate that risk. And I know this is like a detached, like not in the moment thing you can think about. But I was thinking, like, why do we get so kind of invested and care so much? And I do think, for me, the times where I've really cared the most is when I've played in team leagues, when I've played with people in teams. Because then I feel like I'm letting people down. I feel like if, say, like I used to play in a league called Owl back in the day, which was me, Eric, and Isaac most of the time, although it was also me, Stephen, and Addison at one point, and me, Dean, and Evie at one point, so I was on various teams. But if I lost in those games, and say my other two teammates won, it was a best out of 3 format, it would feel so much worse than just losing on my own. Because for me, letting people down is like a horrible feeling, right? Like, it just feels the worst. And then I was thinking about like content and stuff, and from like a perspective of when you see like big YouTubers come into like draft leagues. None right now, like I have to say, like probably right, Joey's the biggest guy in the draft league scene right now in PPL and stuff. And I wouldn't say he's like this at all, but we've seen it historically with other people, where if they lose, they might get like really salty, really angry. If they get hacked out, they might get really like raging about it. This caught me off guard, by the way. I was not expecting this. As you see, we now do nothing. Like, this thing is fat. Very creative build from Abel, to be fair there. But yeah, so it like, and it got me thinking, well, as a viewer, you often just feel like, why is this person getting so angry? Like, why is this person just losing their head? And you forget, I think, and I forget, like, this is why I was thinking about it. I forget, because I wouldn't say I judge people, but I can kind of be put off someone's content if they're really salty and they're really mad. And I'm not saying that they're right for being that way, by the way. But what we fail to think about sometimes is the fact of, like, by the way, here when he went for the light screen, I was really worried about some kind of light screen, like, I don't know, setup kind of variant. I was like, what is he going to do here? I just didn't want to do it. And I thought, well, do you know what? I can potentially whirlwind, I can potentially stall out light screen turns, I can potentially navigate around that. But what we potentially forget with these bigger creators is, let's say they have a front office with a bunch of people helping them. Let's say they've invested a bunch of time, did a bunch of mocks, and then they have a large viewer base. Like Nexus would be someone right now. He's not a salty person, by the way. I'm not saying that at all. But Nexus would be someone in the PPL right now who I played week 1. And I went and sort of looked in his comment section. And obviously he's a much bigger channel than most of us, and deservedly so. And he had people kind of commenting, being like, let's go Nexus, like, we're not having a bad season again, we're not doing badly again, like, this season's going to be different, this season, you know, and someone I think had commented about a mistake he made where he missed something, and they were kind of saying like, come on, these are the sloppy mistakes that cost you last time, or something along those lines. I'm not trying to call Nexus out here, but it's something like that. And I remember reading it and thinking, that's a lot of pressure, man. Like, it's a lot of pressure when you're in a team with people, but if you have 1,000 people watching you, cheering for you, rooting for you, plus an entire front office helping you build, preparing you, giving you a game plan, a strategy, and then you make a single mistake and it costs you the whole game. That is so much more pressure than what I'm doing here, where I'm just like waffling on about bullshit to you guys, right? Like, with a few hundred of you. I'm very grateful for all of you that do watch. Please, I don't want to sound ungrateful. Not at all. But it is a different pressure, because I feel like now I'm at the point with the channel where whether I win or lose doesn't really dictate whether I make good content. And I used to feel like that. Or whether I make the content that you want to see. And I used to feel like that when I was trying to grow the channel and I was trying to make analysis, serious content. You know, the first video I ever did with Joey a few years ago now, where we were analysing his like APA team, I think it was, and his Vanillux. At that point, because I was trying to pull in a new crowd, I was trying to grow the channel, I did feel like winning mattered. I feel like I needed to be seen, kind of like how Addison's seen now, as like one of the top players that people go to see, like Mountay, people like this, right? Back in the day, Gypsy King, whoever. These people that you would go to see really high level commentary and battling. Now that I'm not trying to grow the channel, I'm just really happy making videos for you, 100 to 200 people that watch everything I upload and just want to hang out and chat. I don't have that same pressure on my battling, so if I win or lose, I don't need to get salty. But yeah, it was just kind of like, it was running through my mind, this kind of thing, and I was thinking, I think probably what a lot of us don't realize is that when you really start to get into Pokemon in Draft League, and you start to get quite good at it, you can start to derive, or at least I found this. This turn was pretty crucial, by the way, here. And this is where I spoke about the Tingaloo mistake earlier in the game, not Earthquaking, because here I have my Eject Pack Draco. And if he didn't have the Darkrai sack, it would have been so much more effective. Now we miss anyway, which also really hurts, but like, it's not the end of the world. Like, we can still, you know, do things from here. Like I say, it's not completely crippling. I don't want to go for the Thunderclap here because he's already shown the Will-O-Wisp and the Taunt and stuff, so he could potentially try and outplay me, whatever. I also haven't revealed that I have it. I want the Switch initiative as well, the slow momentum, so I just go for the Volt Switch. But yeah, we lose our Jetpack here, so we basically did it. We basically get the same thing, but we lost like, what, 20% of our HP? And he just got to sack the Darkrai for that. Whereas if we'd taken that Darkrai earlier, EQing on the Taunt, he would have been forced into something else. If we'd landed the Draco, we would have got big chip off of something else and got the Jetpack. So that's where those turns early in the game, where you feel safe, you feel secure because it's early game, and you make a slightly passive play, like, hey, if he taunts me, it's not the end of the world. We'll just skip a turn. Being that little bit more aggressive in that early game could have made a big difference for this late game. So if I'd been able to take the Darkrai from him. So anyway, it's just a little bit of my thoughts on that. But yeah, I think, like, for me, there was a point where I was flying pretty high in Pokemon in Gen 8, around the time of COG, when we got to COG Finals and lost to Mountain. And I remember losing to Mountain, I lost to Screens. And I hate Screens. Screens do make me salty, just because I think they're a fucking cheap move in Pokemon. Like, I just don't like the design of them in the same way I don't like the design of Terra. Because there's such limited specific counterplay to Screens in terms of, like, Brick Break and Defog. And, like, stalling them out. I just feel like they can be overpowered, but they are, like, very situationally so, and it's just really frustrating. I guess that's a lot of things in Pokemon, but I particularly find them a frustrating thing. Anyway, at that time, like, I was flying pretty high in Pokemon, and I think the COG did its, like, rankings, right, where they released the Draft League rankings or coach rankings, and I think at one point I was in the top 5, maybe even top 3 of people in Wi-Fi leagues at that time, considered. And that was like a huge, like, ego boost for me, right? That felt really, really good to see myself up there. I think Jack was one of the people that got to vote. I think he might have even put me at number 1 at one point. And we're friends, so there maybe there's some bias there. But I remember feeling like, wow, like when I first got into draft, I would watch, like, was it Regulator that would make, like, I think he made, no, it was Jolt from TTM, wasn't it? He made a list of, like, the top coaches. And I remember watching it and thinking, like, man, I want to one day be amongst these guys. And I think Regulator did the best looking ones, which is a totally different thing and definitely not a leaderboard I could get onto. So, yeah, that's a separate issue. But I remember being like, okay, this feels really, really good. But then probably at that time when I did lose, it probably did feel so much worse because I probably started to, my ego or my self-esteem, however you want to phrase it, was probably being fed by Pokemon a little bit. And so when I lost, it felt like a challenge, I guess, to how I felt about myself. And this was the other thing that I've been thinking about recently that I was going to bring in here. Was that recently I've been thinking about things that we do for, like, our self-esteem. So for me, when I feel bad in myself, when I feel like I'm having a bad time. By the way, look how much fucking damage that Hippowdown did on me with Earthquake. You will have seen from the thumbnail and title that was Choice Band Hippowdown. I did not calc. I was just like, I guess Ogerpon's a frail piece of shit. I didn't realize it was that fucking frail. Should have realized, but I don't know this generation. It scares and confuses me. So I just assumed that Ogerpon was really frail. But I should have realized at that point Hippowdon was banded, and it would have really helped. So that was, again, just an experience from me. But anyway, when I'm feeling low, when I'm not feeling good in myself, when I'm having a hard time believing in myself, and I am someone that struggles with self-esteem issues. Like, I have been forever. So when I have those moments, I like to see my younger brothers. That's one thing I like to do. I like to see my younger brothers because as like clinical and awful as this sounds, is kind of, it's maybe cynical is a better word than clinical, but I'm their big brother. Like, they think the sun fucking shines out my arse, right? Or at least hopefully they do. Like, I'm 6 years older than one of them and 7 years older than the other. So there's a big age gap. They've always looked up to me. We lived in separate houses growing up. I'd see them every other weekend. So they didn't get to see me that often either. They didn't get to fall out with me. They didn't get to fight with me. They didn't get to see all my flaws. So they would always be excited to see me. And even now when I go to see them, I get reminded that there are people in this world that look up to me, that admire me, that want to see me do well, that think I can do no wrong, right? And my little brothers. And it does pick me up. And maybe, like, you have family or friends that make you feel like that. Another thing for me is football. Like, when I go and play football, if I don't have football over the summer, I often can feel myself getting slightly... One, I need the exercise. But two, I can feel myself feeling different about myself. Because part of my identity and how I feel about me is linked to football. I've played it since I was 4 years old. It's such a crucial part of my life that when it's not there, a little bit I lose my sense of who I am, right? Like, that's part of who I identify as, right? Maybe if you have a job that you are, like, proud of, whatever, and then if you lost that job, you would suddenly feel like threatened, or that sense of self being threatened, right? And I think that for a lot of us that are playing Pokemon, that are online a lot, that are part of this community, this becomes a part of who we are. Because if I go into a Discord chat with people, they are going to know me from this world. And so part of my online persona is being the guy that talks shit like this in a finals game instead of focusing on the game. And playing Pokemon, drafting unusual things, whatever it may be. Like Amel, I don't know Amel at all, really. We've had a few conversations. He seems lovely from every time I've spoken to him. What do I think of when I think of Amel? I think of the guy that only spends half his points in a draft. I think of the guy that drafts no steel type, makes trades, and still doesn't pick up a steel type. I think of the guy that is unconventional, creative, weird. And so if he suddenly started drafting super generic, building super generic, it might, I don't know him, but that might make him feel different about himself, because he might identify as this guy that does these things that we all see in him, right? Do you get what I'm trying to say? Hopefully you get what I'm trying to say. So I was thinking about these things that we kind of do to give us our sense of self, to give us our self-esteem. And I think that was part of the reason that I was not enjoying uploading earlier this gen, because for some reason I felt like no one wanted to see videos like this. I felt like no one was interested in me talking my mind and talking about life. And that I had to do super serious Pokemon battling, focused Pokemon battling. And then I wasn't winning. I wasn't playing well. And so I couldn't figure out what value my videos had. And so I felt bad about them, and I felt bad about myself. And coming to do this, maybe deriving some of my self-esteem from doing this, meant that I wasn't getting that fix, right? I wasn't getting that thing, one of the things that I come to this for. And it only really hit me the other day when I got a few comments on, I think it was last week's, was it PPL? No, it was Egg. Last week's Egg, the semi-final, I think, against OG Albino. I think that one against Owen. I think there was like the first 3 comments, all were some variation of saying like that I looked handsome or something, right? And this is boys being boys. This is my friends just like, you know, it's banter. It's not serious. I don't actually mean it. I get that. But it felt really nice. Like, it felt as someone who, you know, was bullied for the way he looked for most of his life, and, you know, told he was ugly for most of his life. Even just friends being silly, commenting like, you look good today, whatever, like mock flirting, that kind of stuff. It still felt good. I wanted to believe that I did look good. Do you know what I mean? I wanted to take that self-esteem boost. And it kind of got, that's what then triggered my thought of like, how funny is that like just a bit of banter between friends in the comment section actually made me feel good about myself that day, actually made me think I looked good that day. And that's what then got me thinking about self-esteem, why we upload, why we do these things, why we process losses the way we do. You can see where my fucking ADHD tangent went off. Yeah, hopefully you can follow that thought pattern. But yeah, it's you can see me, look at me here trying to figure out why I did so fucking much, and I'm going to die to sand, and I'm like, oh shit, I'm really fucked here. So at this point I know that like Ogerpon is the win con basically. And I'm also still convinced he can slack off with his Hippowdon at some point. But I realised that Ogerpon is basically the win con, but it also only gets 1 turn. It gets 1 kill, because at any point he can sack off Hippowdon, get sand up, and then I die. So I either have to only click U-turn, or I have to kill at least the Hippowdon in that turn, right? Like that's the trade that I'm essentially making. But yeah, so that's where my mind's been at. At some point, I interrupt the post-com, by the way, so I'm going to have to, like, suddenly leave you, because I will just unmute myself in the video and start doing a live commentary, because I'm a prick, and I didn't want to let myself talk. I'm trying to have a serious conversation here. What are you doing to me? Anyway, so yeah, I just think it's kind of interesting, and I think for people like Joey and people that do this professionally, it must be even more intense, right? Because not only does he have like the online identity, the online persona, the online whatever, and people, Joey seems like he's absolutely real. When you speak to him in Discord, when you see him on YouTube, whatever, when I've chatted to him in call before when we recorded that video, he seems like the same guy all the time. So I'm not suggesting that he creates a fake persona, but all of us online have a persona, whether we like it or not, that's made up by our profile picture on Discord, the way that we write our messages, whether we use full punctuation, abbreviations, all these things, whether you like it or not, they shape how people view you. So you do have a persona, the same way that if you have an accent in real life or you have certain clothes in real life, it shapes that, right? Whether you use a face cam, not a face cam, all these things do shape an online persona for you. And it must be so complicated for him, because not only does he have to contend with that, but this is his career, like this is his professional life. A lot of it will be his personal life as well, because I imagine a lot of his friends will be made, like I think there was a time, wasn't there, recently, where him and like Seabad and Shady, was it? All went to like the zoo together. So again, like he's made real life friends from being online, just like I have, just like many of you will have done. So it just becomes so multi-layered that then when he uploads a Draft League game and he loses, say, it's not as straightforward as like, it's just a game, man. Like he's just playing a children's game and lost. Like there's so much of like yourself tangled up in it. I don't know, I find it kind of interesting. Maybe I'm the only one. Maybe you guys are like, he should just shut the fuck up and concentrate on Pokemon. I bet the retention rate on this video is going to be appalling. But anyway, that's what's been on my mind. Let me know down below. Like I would love to hear examples of things that people do, whether you've ever thought about it, whether there are things, like I say, me going to see my brothers. If I'm not feeling good, I'll go and see my brothers, and it will help pick me up. Here, I wanted to go for the Encore and lock him into light screen, but I was really scared that he would predict that hard switch, so I can't remember what I actually did. You can see I'm getting really stressed. Like I'm a lot less stressed now than I was at this point. I think I parting shot predicting the switch, which is like, in my opinion, now needs to stay aggressive. But then it's what we were saying earlier about being aggressive. I guess I don't want to just skip a turn, so I guess it is the right play. I'm keeping up momentum. Old me's better than new me. Damn. He was right. That was the right play. Good play, Matthew. Good prediction. Well done. See? Not needlessly aggressive. Sometimes you have to be aggressive. Anyway. So in tomorrow's upload, you'll see I've done away with the layout. I'm just going to do the face cam stuff. Let me know how you feel about these post-coms with like the Tower of Matthews. The stack. Hello, small me. Hello. Oh no, there's not one above me. Maybe I should put, if I could, no, I'm not going to do that. I was going to say in editing I'll put another one above me, but I won't do any editing because I'm lazy. I hate editing. I wish I enjoyed it. It's just so fucking boring. Yeah, let me know how you feel about this type of video, as well as letting me know the kind of things that you do when maybe the pick-me-ups, the things you do when you're feeling down in the dumps. I think we all, we don't all suffer with clinical depression, but we all do sometimes feel bad about ourselves, right? Every one of us at times in our life has felt low, has felt dejected, and I think through life, as you get older, you start to find your coping mechanisms is probably the like therapy phrase for it, right? You start to find the things that can rebuild you. And I'm really interested to hear what people are, and how many of you Pokemon is one of those things. How many of you Pokemon is like, does have a big influence on how you feel about yourself. Yeah, that's it. So what's going on? Let's talk about the game. I think I've exhausted that point now. I'm probably just repeating myself. Let's talk about the game. This fucking thing, right? Did you know that Petron or Bounsweet? Did you know it doesn't get Will-O-Wisp? This is the second game in a row I have brought Lumberry Grafaiai because me and Eric refused to acknowledge the existence of Gen 9. And so neither of us realized this thing didn't get Will-O-Wisp. So we've been bringing Lumberry on Grafaiai to block, like to heal the burn when he Will-O-Wisps me. Doesn't even get it. I only found out because the week after this, Eric was playing against a Petron and I was giving him a mark, and I threw Will-O-Wisp. I tried to throw Will-O-Wisp on the set and it wasn't there. I was so worried about Will-O-Wisp this whole time. The Pokemon doesn't even get it. Why does it not get it? This is the most Will-O-Wispy Pokemon I've ever seen. It's literally a Gengar, but like in a Bounsweet's body. It doesn't make any sense. And yeah, this fucking shit where it poisons you and then confuses you is dumb. Like that Pokemon should, like, in my opinion, have some RNG. Some RNG is good, but like try and limit it. Like just things like confusion and stuff. Try and reduce the chances of that. Like don't give things ways of almost guaranteeing confusion because it's just gross. Like it's just I don't know. I guess a lot of people feel that RNG in Pokemon will always prevent it from becoming like a serious esport because there is too much variability or whatever the correct word is. But I feel like we see enough consistency from Pokemon players to show that anyone that says like Pokemon is all luck is wrong. Although I have always said I'd rather be lucky than good, but I think the truth is, like, joking aside, you know, people like Mount Aquarius, whoever you want to name, these people wouldn't continually top perform if it was just luck based. But I think, like, I don't know, sometimes I feel like Pokemon makes weird game design decisions, like introducing, like Ogerpon. Terra Ogerpon, I found out this week as well. When you switch it out and it comes back in, oh, here's me crossing my fingers, come on Draco, come on Draco. Oh. Why did I vote? What? Why am I crossing my fingers? C. I don't understand what I was crossing my fingers at. Oh, I think I'm saying I'm going to Draco him this turn, and if we land, he's fucked. I think that's what I'm saying. Let me see. Crit. I'm hoping for a crit. I remember. I'm going to hold up a piece of paper here that says crit question mark please in my child's handwriting because I can't. My handwriting is absolutely terrible. But that's what that said. It backwards because I forgot to write it backwards. Later, I'll write something else and I'll try and write it backwards so that it reads forwards. But I don't know if this succeeded. I just shrugged because he's faster than me and I'm fucking confused. We didn't get the crit either, obviously. Yeah, this was a fast banded Hippowdown and it shafted me. What was I saying? How dare you interrupt me, Pokemon? Yeah, Ogerpon, when it comes back in, if it's Terrored, and it's like, say the water one gets the Spadef boost, right? It comes back in, it gets the Spadef boost every time it comes in. But Protean, they changed it so it's only like one turn that it works for. Yeah, there's me giving a GG. Didn't look like GG, did it? Is that how you do a G? That's how you do a G. It's because it's not capitals, I think. I don't know. My handwriting is terrible. When it comes back in, it gets a boost, but like, yeah, Zacian and Zamazenta, they got theirs nerfed, so they only get it once when they come in, right? With Dauntless Shield and what's the other one? Intrepid Sword. So why the fuck does Ogerpon get it every, like, I hate that Game Freak breaks the new toy every time to make you, like, want to use the new shit and make it overpowered. And then just nerfs it immediately after so they can break something else. Like, just be fucking consistent. Like, it's just, I don't know, man. I mean, I know that we got crit. I'm very happy with that, look. Very happy. Very happy. Very happy. Why does my hair look like that? Does my hair always look like that? Does my hair look like that right now? Does it? It looks all like blocky here. Needed to separate it out a bit. Silly, man. Anyway, we're getting into narcissism now. My hair is not relevant to Pokemon. What's happening here? I can't remember. He goes into this, and does he just kill me? Anyway, what I was saying, I was thinking about Pokemon. Yeah, they're just, some of the game design choices they make just really piss me off. Like, because everyone always says, oh, they only care about singles. They don't care about doubles. But then, like, why did they nerf Roost and Synthesis and all that stuff? Like, that's irrelevant in doubles. Doubles doesn't last enough turns for that to be relevant. And why did they introduce heavy duty boots? Like, I'm convinced there's someone at Game Freak who plays on Showdown, is, like, low ladder, and fucking rages at, like, Stall and Hazards, and their favorite Pokemon is Charizard, and they're just like, I don't want to use my Dragon Dance Charizard, I don't want people to stall me, and I don't want people to put Stealth Rocks up, and that one person is in charge of the entire, like, singles division of competitive Pokemon, and they make all the choices, because they clearly do not, like, much as people like to say they don't care about singles, they clearly do. Like, they've introduced enough stuff that is so singles only relevant that they clearly do care, but then they just make such, like, counterintuitive decisions. It's like whoever is in charge of it is just a moron. That's my theory. That's my theory. If you are watching this and you were in charge of singles at Game Freak, one, me and Joey have a great suggestion for you. Make Pursuit Tyranitar's signature move. Bring it back and only give it to Tyranitar, please. Two, get rid of Boots. Delete Boots. That was stupid. 3, Megas was the only good gimmick you gave me, because
everyone is too much of a coward to ban Terra, apart from Egg this season, which is the most fun I've had playing this gen because Terra is fucking stupid. So just give us something like Megas or Dynamax where it's either completely obviously broken so everyone has to ban it and there's no debate, and some of the Megas the same. Or like just give us Megas which most of them are pretty balanced, and like I said, we can ban the really broken ones. But when you give us something like Terra, where people are like, oh, but I want to see the low tier mons do well, so we'll let them Terra. It's still fucking stupid when, you know, a water flying type Terras into a ground type. It's still stupid. I don't care if it's on a sheet.
Post come me, shut up for a second.
No.
We'll finish this out. We'll finish this out.
No, I won't. Right.
So I'm pretty sure he just...
How dare he? How? I'm incredulous right now. Who does he think he is telling me to shut up? I'm on a rant right now. I'm banging the desk again. That's how angry I am with Game Freak. You silly man. To you guys, it probably looks like I'm talking to the me below me. To me, it just looks like I'm talking to my penis. I'm just talking to my crotch. I'm just calling my penis a silly man. Anyway, what was the point I was making? Terra is stupid because the same way that like we had first turn Mega for Mega Gyarados because it was fucking annoying when its weaknesses would change, and like other Pokemon like that where their weaknesses would change, Charizard, whatever. It's fucking annoying when Terra just changes the weaknesses and you don't know if they're going to do it or not. Like, if you want to keep doing Terra, make it first turn Terra 1 Terra type. So if you draft Belly Bolt with Terra Water, you have to Terra it turn 1 into the Water type, right? You get 1 per draft like Megas, and you have to Terra it. So there's no stupid guessing game, because that is the least interesting and competitive bit of Pokemon. In my opinion, just ban Terra anyway like Egg did, because it sucks. But this is my suggestion to everyone doing Terra. If you have to keep it, you get 1 Terra Captain, it gets 1 Terra type, and it has to Terra into it turn 1. Job done. Then when I'm prepping for the game, hey, Belly Bolt is a water type in my prep, and that's it. When I'm playing the game, I don't have to guess. Anyway, rant over. I'll let me continue. Go ahead, me. Say what you have to say.
Lose, right? I mean, I've been losing for a while, but I've tried. I've tried to give it a good go, but I'm pretty sure that's it, right?
I don't still need to be here,
because
do I?
Even if I get a KO here, Future Sight doesn't help, no. Volt Switch doesn't help, no. Yeah, because even if I get a KO here, oh yeah, he can do this as well. What I was going to say he could do is, so say he'd let me KO his Petrant there. He could have gone into Cornerstone, click Knockoff. This would have died. I could have gone into my Zarude, clicked Ivy Cudgel to kill the Cornerstone. But as long as he went hard Hippowdon and got Sand up, I would have died to Sand anyway. So, but this has the same effect. He still has 2 mons left with Sand up. So yeah, unless somehow this thing is miraculously slower, like I'm just dead. There's just nothing I can do. I can't stall out Sand turns. I can't do anything. And similarly, I can't sweep him with Ogerpon, even if I lived a turn of Sand, or with Zarude, even if I lived a turn of Sand, which I won't. I couldn't sweep him with any one move now that he get the Petrant alive anyway. But both endgames do the same job, right? I guess, yeah, because I couldn't Volt Switch on the Hippo, and I couldn't double on the Hippo because he would have missed. So yeah, he was saving the Petrant. It doesn't really matter either way. Yeah, I guess we'll just... I mean, it really makes no difference, right? I literally can't win. I guess we'll go for style points and try and KO this. I doesn't even let me to KO that. So yeah, I mean, I guess knockoff actually no, because I would have died to Sand. So it literally didn't matter. There's nothing I could do. There was nothing I could do. If I had knocked off here, I maybe would have killed this with the Sand at the end of the turn. So it would have been a 1-0 win to him, but it would have still been a win to him. It's just nothing I could do. Obviously missing the Draco earlier in the game, pretty unlucky. It would have given me free momentum and I wouldn't have had to take any damage on my Raging Bolt, which would have meant it could have lived a lot of different hits towards the end of the game from like Cornerstone and stuff, which could have been important. But like the Draco misses, I'm not even, that's that. I got the play wrong when I went for the Thunderbolt into the Darkrai. I could have prevented any of that happening by thunderclapping the Darkrai. but having already seen Will-O-Wisp and stuff, just didn't feel like a sensible play to thunderclap him, and presumably he knew that. He made the right call and went for the knockoff into me. So in hindsight, I probably should have read how obvious it was that I wouldn't thunderclap and then thunderclapped. But we're talking about game predictions right here. Then the other thing is, one, the Hippo is way stronger than I expected. I don't know what item that Hippo had, but it was fast and strong, so that was surprising. The Basque Legion definitely should have been modest. Being able to take on that Quaquaval would have been a lot better. I was worried about that pre-game. That would have been a lot better. And the confusion stuff into the Raging Bolt. I think if we hadn't got confused that turn, for what it's worth, assuming he's like a max HP with no Spadef on his Pectorant, for what it's worth, our Raging Boner should have been doing about 71 to 83 with the Draco. So I'm pretty sure he was at that range of health. So I think we would have killed the Pectorant, and then potentially we could have had an end game with Ogerpon, maybe. It's like this how I would describe this final when I text Eric and let him know how I got on. Shout out to him for the mock this week. Will be my report to him. Will be like, I lost the final. I played okay. I made a few misplays that were costly, and there was a tiny bit of RNG that didn't go in my favor. But that it was a tiny bit. And honestly, Amel just out-prepped me. Like the light screen bring, because he just couldn't handle Specs Iron Crown last time. And that's why I said at the start of the video, you're almost better losing your first matchup so that you know then how to adapt in the second one. Bringing the light screen Latias, really, really clever. That was really hard for me to play around. There was quite a few sort of 50-50 turns where I was like, do I Encore, do I Parting Shot, what does he do? We were in each other's heads a bit, and I think he got most of them right where I got them wrong. So, again, I thought this was a good final. I apologise if sometimes my body language made it look as though I was bored or frustrated. I'm slowly dying by 1,000 cuts in a final, but I totally... I love the way that Amel played this. The slow, patient, you get some sand chip, you wear things down a bit. That's the best way to play Mons. This is my most enjoyable way. So my face, if it looked a bit downcast, was not to discredit Amel at all. I thought he played brilliantly and deserved the win far more than I did. It's just one of those things of when you're dying by 1,000 cuts, it does take it out of you a little bit. But no, yeah, thoroughly deserved win to him. I think he's had an amazing season as well. So and he essentially had no fucking steel resist on his draft, man. He had Quaquaval and Regieleki, I think, were his only steel resist. I don't think he drafted a steel type. So if I couldn't win with my stupid mono Gen 9 memes, I'm glad the guy that didn't even draft a steel type won, because it's still kind of... I love when people show that draft is not this fixed thing that we think it is. That it's not this bound to expectation and norms metagame, right? When we think of our favorite moments in Pokemon VGC, I don't know much about VGC, but we think about, the Pachirisu famously winning Worlds. We think about Wolf Glick having a Raichu and a Hitmontop on his team, which were a little bit unfancied when he won Worlds. These anti-meta alternative picks, and so seeing Amel win this league without a steel type, when any person that's played draft for any amount of time would be like, you need a steel type on every team. Apparently you don't. If you can play well enough, you don't. Or maybe if you play Muppets like me, that helps. But no, to Amel's credit, I think he played really well. So I like that shit. I like when people kind of shatter expectations, and that's half the fun of Draft League, right? I'm going to be slightly self-indulgent now and just talk about this season. So if you want to stick around, listen to my kind of season review. Maybe I can bring something up on screen here to show you. I would edit this out, but I don't do editing. So, alright. So immediately after saying I wouldn't do any editing, I thought, don't be fucking lazy, do some editing. I'm making myself way too big. Why am I making myself this big? I got to click on the fucking teams. Anyway, I don't have many teams on the computer I record on. We got a few, not many. But you can see, from this draft, just from the teams we have here, maybe I can make this bigger, actually. We'll do it on the... I don't want to fuck around with my dimensions. Sorry, you're going to have to have it small. Ignore this team. Ignore that shit. You can see here, this team was fun. It was very top-heavy, so, the same Mons came to every game, but they were strong. They were really strong. One thing that I wish in the final, looking back, that I'd done differently is... I was kind of not using Crown that well. Like, I when I clicked the Psyshock into the Lati, I think that was probably the biggest mistake of the whole game. So there was the point where turn something or other, all the cuts, all the editing for me to do. It's a final. Hey, fuck it. Let's just get into this shit. Why not? Let's just get into the weeds with it. So yeah, this turn here where Petrant was super low, and not Petrant. Ogerpon was super low, and that's when I knew. You can see me scratching my head below me right now. Matthew Tower, woo! You can see that like I knew things were bad, and I U-turn out here with the thing. Hopefully I'm recording my desktop audio. I am, so you can hear the battle noise and everything. Sweet. We got a post-com in a post-com. Fuck me, we're really getting into this. Because in my actual post-com, I know I'm just going to have been talking about, I don't know, testicles or something. So we go into Cobalion here, and this was a big mistake. I knew that at this point I needed to secure a KO for myself. And I was torn between going into the Girafarig and going into the Cobalion, and I thought the Latias was still low. I forgot that he had recovered up the Latias. So when I looked at it, I was like, Hippowdon is going to get blown up by the Tachyon Cutter. And the issue with going into Girafarig is the Petrant might be faster and be able to parting shot out, put me at -1, and then I might not secure a KO. I'm not sure. So because of that, and again, this is where it would have been so nice to have had my jetpack and to have had a bit more HP, because then none of that would have mattered, and I could have just Draco'd and got some momentum. But like I said, that was my own misplay, not fucking thunderclapping. So instead here, I go into the Iron Crown, and I click the Tachyon Cutter, and I don't know if my face even reacted, but like I was so gutted when I saw the Lati come in at full HP, because I knew that like this was probably the turn where I fully lost the game. There were turns where I could have done things better, but like this was a turn. Yeah, there you go. This was a turn where I fully knew, that's it. Because I had to take a KO here. With the Sandstorm chip that he was getting on the Ogerpon, the difficult position I was put in with the Ogerpon, I just knew that I was in a really bad spot here. So that's my biggest regret of the game, probably that one turn. But just to switch back to the other screen, bear with me for 1 second. There we go. Oh, look at this. Just to switch back to this, I knew pre-game, right, that the Basque Legion was the most important Mon. So, not the Basque Legion, fuck me, sorry, the Iron Crown, right? It had the best matchup against him last time. I needed to get it in more often and click Tachyon Cutter more often. Instead of going for fucking Psyshocks, instead of going into other things, like I needed to get this thing in and just start hitting shit. And probably once I saw the Lati was his initial switch in, I needed to start Volt switching. Because what basically I'd done, and then I could have got an Ogerpon a lot more and hit the U-turn a lot more, and I could have got that real good momentum core going. But in my prep, I hadn't wanted this to be specs. So I'd wanted this to be either Colberberry or AV, I can't remember. And it didn't do very well. Me and Eric did one mock, it didn't do very well. And I said to the mock, I said to Eric, I'll just fucking bring specs like last time. And Eric was like, hell yeah, just bring specs. He's got no steel type. It's a psychic steel stab combo against two no steel type. Bring fucking specs. I'm like, yeah, you're right, let's do it. But in my prep, I had seen that Hippowdon only took like 50 from this, and it wasn't necessarily, I think, a 2-hit KO depending on his spread and item. And I had that in my head. I had in my head, well, he's going to go Hippowdon, I'm going to do 45 if I'm unlucky. Then I'm going to have to go into Ogerpon, I'm going to take Sandchip, then I'm going to have to make the 50-50 call when he slacks off of whether I U-turn or whether I Ivy Cudgel into a potential Petrant switch. So I was like, I never wanted to click the Tachyon Cutter, and I was like, but if he's Spadef Hippowdon, he might not take the Psyshock, so I wanted to click the Psyshock, and I also didn't want to click the Volt switch in case he went Hippowdon, because that would eat the Volt switch and I wouldn't get anything out of the turn. So because I had seen this thing in prep, I had like honed in on it in the game, and even though Emil had showed me, I'm going to keep using Lati as a pivot here. Like, Lati is my pivot because I need to get that light screen up. And I should have realized when the EQ did so much to my Ogerpon, but I didn't even bother to calculate. I was just like, I guess Hippowdon's stronger than I thought it is, or Ogerpon's frailer than I thought it is, or was. I stayed glued to my original concept of what the Hippowdon would be, which was Spadef. So that was a really costly mistake. The other big mistake I made was letting this get taunted and not just killing the fucking Darkrai. If I'd earthquaked on the turn he stealth rocked me, the Darkrai would have been dead. He never would have had the sack to Raging Bolt. I could have eject packed my Draco like I wanted to, probably into a Hippowdon exactly as planned before the game, and it would have been so much different. My Tinglu has been taunted a million times this season, and still, I let people taunt it, and I don't think... It's not I don't think to click the other move, it's that I'm just like, well, if he taunts me and taunts me, we both lose a turn. But you could gain so much more by being aggressive. Like, that's passivity in me coming out, that British passiveness. Where I'm like, well, no one gets hurt. We'll both say sorry to each other and carry on with our days. Like, I needed to get a bit more aggro and click the EQ because I could have got a lot more out of that as well. But anyway, hopefully I haven't just stolen everything the postcom had to say. Hopefully I've got a good story for you in the postcom because I've just summed up the game here, haven't I? But I think it was a good season. For a weird fucking team, like, Addison had to remind me when I thought I was going out of playoffs, when I didn't think I was making it with 3 weeks left of the season. Addison had to remind me, like, your record is pretty good considering how fucking stupid your team is. And, yeah, sometimes you need your daughter to just put you back in line because she was 100% right. So I'm pretty proud of how this season went. By far and away my favourite season in this gen. Terra is stupid, so yeah, let's keep no Terra. It's way better without it. I'll shut up. We've still got PPL going on, so hopefully you enjoyed that, even though it's Terra, and I'm not doing so well in it, but I don't know, we'll see. And then I'll probably take a little break, but that's a chat for another time. Alright, yeah, thank you so much to everyone at Egg for having me for another season. GG again to Amel, very, very worthy champion, and hopefully I get invited back for next season. Hopefully it's no Terra again, and hopefully we can go on better and bring home a championship.